All right, everyone, we're ready to get this party started. Thank you, DJ B Diamond, for the excellent soundtrack to establish the vibe for our 2-day conference. We look forward to experiencing your playlist throughout our time together. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 5th annual Supporting Innovative Practices Virtual Inclusion Conference. My name is Kevin Schaefer, Project Director with the Supporting Innovative Practices Project based out of the El Dorado County Office of Education. I'm a white man with brown hair and brown eyes, closely trimmed salt and pepper beard, and a high and tight haircut that's working very hard to stay relevant these days. I'm wearing a teal colored SIP shirt with the words Innovate, Elevate, Impact, and sitting in front of a virtual background with SIP logos, so I'm fully on brand today. I'm smiling and really glad to be with all of you here. On behalf of our leadership team, co-director Carmen Hopkins from the Riverside County Office of Education, Janelle Mercado, assistant director, also from the El Dorado County Office of Education, and our entire SIP team, we would like to welcome you and thank you for being here and for choosing to spend your time with us. This year's conference theme, Belonging by Design, Innovative Practices, Impactful Outcomes, reflects our shared responsibility to intentionally create systems where students with disabilities are not just included, but experience rightful presence, voice, and belonging. Because this work is more than just placement, it's about how decisions are made, whose voices are centered, and whether students with disabilities are expected to learn, lead, and thrive. We are grateful to the California Department of Education Special Education Division and our partner county offices, Riverside and El Dorado, for their continued support, which allows us to partner with educators, families, and communities across the state to improve outcomes for students with disabilities. In the spirit of inclusion, this year's conference platform offers many embedded accessibility features you can customize to meet your needs. To access these features, click on the blue circle icon in the top right side of your screen. Closed captioning is enabled, and ASL interpretation and Spanish translation are available in each session. If you need support, please visit the information desk or select the Help button. I'd like to also extend heartfelt gratitude to our SIP conference planning team, Heather, Megan, Juliet, Tom, Sarah, Rebecca, Tim, and Janelle. Incredible work. Over the next 2 days, I invite you to reflect not on how we include students with disabilities in the systems we have, but how we design systems where they are expected to belong. Because when we get that right, inclusion is no longer an initiative, it becomes the way we serve every student. And with that, let's get the conference started. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Rachel Heenan, Director of the Special Education Division at the California Department of Education. Dr. Heenan brings extensive experience across the field of special education, including roles in school-based services, district leadership, and as a SELPA director. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Rachel Heenan. Rachel?
Thanks, Kevin. Super hard act to follow. A lot of gratitude. Really appreciate it. So good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm watching the numbers climb, and this is truly exciting. We have this many participants on here. So as Kevin said, my name is Rachel Heenan. I'm the Director of the Special Education Division here at the California Department of Education. And it's truly an honor to join you as we open the Supportive Innovative Practices Inclusion and Innovative Practices 5th Annual Virtual Inclusion Conference. So thank you for having me. I promise I'll be brief. I know last year it went a little long, and then we can really focus and get to the meat of the conference. But I wanted to share a few thoughts with you from the Department of Education and my also experience. So when I think about this conference and the focus, the meaningful progress that we've made together over the past 5 years, I'm truly moved by what this community has accomplished and what this gathering represents. And this obviously is to advance inclusive practices and affirm every student's rightful presence, participation, and belonging in our educational systems and our communities as a whole. So I've had the privilege of experiencing this work firsthand, first as a director, working closely alongside educators, families, and students, and now at the state level, where I have the opportunity to witness extraordinary work happening in communities across California every single day. And this work is so profound. This conference is more about strategies and systems, as discussed, and it's really about the connections we've built, the practices we elevate, and most importantly, the students whose voices, identities, and experiences remain at the center of this work. That's what inclusion is truly all about. And that's why I'm so grateful that I can be here with you today. I also want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who's joining us today. Your presence sends a powerful message. It tells me and the California Department of Education that you are not satisfied with the status quo. You are here because you believe that all of California's students deserve more. And you're committed to learning and growing and making that belief a reality. And that commitment matters deeply to me and to the team here on the Special Education Division. So to our presenters, thank you for bringing your expertise and your stories into this space. What you share today will ripple far beyond this conference. It will go into classrooms, into IEP meetings, staffings decisions, and policy conversations. And that is true impact. So I want to just take a quick moment to highlight what lies ahead today, because today's lineup is truly exceptional. We'll begin with a keynote panel hosted by Otto Lana, centered around the most important voice in this work, and that is our California students. You'll hear from students across middle schools, high school, college, adulthood, as they speak candidly about their experiences with inclusion, what it looked like, what it felt like, where it's fallen short, because we know we have a lot of work to do, and where it has made meaningful difference in their lives. From my position at CDE, much of the time here is spent looking really at data, creating policies, looking at LEA support or school district support and frameworks, but nothing grounds this work more than hearing directly from our students we serve. So I encourage you to all to listen truly to this panel as if your next decisions depend on it, because in many ways they do. And then we'll close the day with a keynote from Valissa Thompson, nationally recognized disability rights advocate and thoughtful leader whose voice has helped shape the national conversation on inclusion, equity, and what it truly means to belong. So I'm truly looking forward to hearing this discussion. And the theme of this conference, Belonging by Design, captures something I've been thinking a great deal about with my work leading the special ed division. We've made great progress in California across many areas related to inclusion, but we have real work left to do. One of the things I'm focused on right now is ensuring that our statewide systems, our monitoring, our technical assistance, and our data infrastructure are driving better outcomes for students with disabilities in gen ed settings. Not just measuring placement decisions, but really looking at measuring belonging. So my priority for the division is that every student has access to high quality, inclusive educational experience, regardless of ability, service level, or zip code, but based on the unique needs of the student's IEP. And that's not aspirational language. It's truly not. It's a legal obligation under IDEA, and it is our moral responsibility. So I want California to lead this work. And I believe we can. I know we can. So I just want to leave you with something that I really come to believe more every day and as I continue to do this work. I think many of you will agree with me that placement is not inclusion. The physical presence in a general education classroom is necessary, but it's just the beginning. And the question I want all of us to sit with today is, where you're in your LEA, do students with disabilities in our schools truly belong? Are they known? Are they welcomed? Do their peers and teachers see them as full members of the community? Not as guests, not as additions, but as people whose presence makes the classroom richer for everyone. So that's just a surface of what belonging means. And I want to be clear, it's not a goal for some students, it is a right for all students, every single student, every support level, every community in the state. When we get this belief right, when it's generally designed in everything we do, we build our schools with more equitable and welcoming for every student who walks through our doors. This is California. We want to build this. And I believe the people in this conference are building it together. So take what you hear today and do something with it, bringing it back to your team, bringing it to your IEP teams, bringing it to your school boards, your curriculum committee, and your hiring processes. Ask hard questions, push, even when change is slow, even when it's uncomfortable. I'm asking you just to lean in because every student who experiences true belonging knows they are seen, valued, and will succeed. That's what impact looks like. And that's why we're all here today. So on behalf of the California Department of Education, welcome to day one of SIP's fifth annual Inclusion Conference. Thank you so much for having me and enjoy your conference.
Thank you, Dr. Heenan. As you mentioned, centering the voices of the disability community and students is integral to all of our work in education, and we are honored to have a dynamic group of young leaders to begin our conference today. I am Megan Gross, a program support specialist with Supporting Innovative Practices. I am a white, middle-aged woman with brown hair and blue eyes, wearing a light blue shirt in front of a teal Zoom background. I am joined today by my colleagues, Sarah Lincoln and Julia Eniadwanyu. We are delighted to introduce our opening keynote presenters, Otto Lana, Amani Gavan, Diego Cortez, Helena Donata Sapp, and Walt Novo-Sardian. Our keynote facilitator, Otto, is a San Diego native and University of San Diego student whose work as a poet, filmmaker, consultant, and national disability rights advocate has earned recognition, including the inaugural Judy Heumann Elijah Armstrong Award for Excellence, and a San Diego County proclamation of Otto Lana Day for his leadership in championing communication rights. He serves as a youth ambassador, public speaker, entrepreneur, and the face of Easter Seal's Disability is Not a Dirty Word campaign, using his platform to expand access, shift perceptions of autism and apraxia, and pave the way for future AAC users in higher education. Amani is a 23-year-old Bay Area native pursuing a bachelor's degree in psychology and social justice studies. Shaped in part by surviving a rupturing spinal tumor and becoming paralyzed at 13. Her experience navigating school through disability has fueled her advocacy for inclusive education, her involvement in adaptive sports, and her emerging voice as a public speaker. Diego is a 13-year-old seventh grader from Santa Rosa who has navigated early childhood cancer, permanent hearing loss, and significant language and learning barriers. He is thriving in middle school, mentors younger deaf and hard of hearing students, hopes to join his school's leadership team, and loves exploring video production, building Lego creations, and spending time with friends and family. Helena is a 16-year-old scholar, activist, keynote speaker, and poet whose internationally recognized work in disability justice reflects her deep belief in the power of youth voice. She serves as a commissioner for the Long Beach Commission for Women and Girls, sits on the California Department of Education's Advisory Commission for Special Education, and partners with the National Education Association, where she co-founded the Become a Champion for Disability Rights and Inclusion campaign. Walt Novo-Sardian is a young disabled queer advocate. He grew up in Novato, California, attending San Marin High School. He has been on the Marin County Youth Commission for 4 years now, where he created a presentation on ableism that has reached over 4,000 people in the county. He has volunteered in nonprofit organizations like Positive Images to help young queer people and recently was one of 5 youth representatives for the National League of Cities Youth Education and Family Council, planning 2 congressional conferences. In the fall, Walt will be attending UC Berkeley, double majoring in political science and history. In his free time, he is usually writing poetry, reading, or spending time with his dog Hazel. Unfortunately, due to a last-minute timing conflict with senior year AP exams, Walt is unable to join us live today. He has submitted written responses to questions, and we will read them aloud. I hope you will join me in the chat, sending Walt all the good testing vibes and wishes of support in the chat. During their keynote, we invite you to use the chat feature to share your thoughts and submit questions for the Q&A session following their presentation. Walt, we're going to send you this chat. It's blowing up, sending you good luck for your test. Panel, I would like to invite you to introduce yourself with a visual description. Amani, let's begin with you.
Oh my God. Hi, guys. I'm Amani. I'm an African American 23-year-old female. I have straight black hair, black glasses, brown eyes, gold hoops, and this really fun brand new shirt that I'm wearing. It's blue and it has blue and yellow and green flowers, and I have teal sit background.
Diego?
Good morning, I'm Diego, and I'm 13 years old. I am a Latino, and my pronouns are he, him. I have light tan skin, dark brown hair, and dark brown eyes. I am wearing a light gray short sleeve t-shirt. I am also wearing a 6 silver chain with a silver and dark blue cross.
Helena?
Hi, my name is Helena. I'm an African American 16-year-old girl. My pronouns are she, her. I have long black locks and I'm wearing a blue SIP t-shirt. I have a blue background with the SIP logo behind me.
And finally, Otto. We'll need you to unmute yourself, Otto.
Anything, and you chose us, so we thank you. I also want to say, the honor and privilege is all mine. I am humbled to be here today with this panel of youth leaders. These folks are creating waves of change, so grab your life vests, you are in the splash zone now. Just a quick visual description, because accessibility is near and dear to my heart. I am a young Latin man. I have dreamy blue eyes and a smattering of sun-kissed freckles from my many hours at the beach. I have short brunette hair, stylishly gelled back. I am wearing a blue t-shirt. My background is blue graph paper with the text belonging by design. The first question I want to ask of my esteemed colleagues is this: can you share a time in school when you truly felt a sense of belonging? Diego, would you like to respond first?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what was happening to give you that sense of belonging? Who was involved and what made that experience different from other moments?
I felt like I truly belonged when I went to a 6th grade general education camp my last year of elementary school. I was the only 6th grader in my deaf and hard of hearing program that year, and so I was the only student from my program who went to the camp. I wanted to go, but I was also nervous because I didn't know the other 6th graders very well. I wasn't sure how they would treat me, but I ended up being in a cabin with very kind, respectful students and chaperones. They didn't treat me differently, and we all had a great time together. So we did a lot of hiking, playing basketball, and I even went to a barn dance where I danced on the stage. Everyone was clapping and cheering for me, and it was was the best experiences of my elementary school life. Other D6 grader students and a few parent chaperones, my DAH teacher, also came up to support me on one of those days. It was a different from other moments as at the school because I was usually spend a lot of time in the D1 class because I needed a lot of support to improve my language and academic skills. At the sixth grade camp, I had the chance to spend a ton of time with the kids who were not in D1, and I really enjoyed getting to know the kids in my cabin. I just felt like everyone else at the camp. I didn't feel different.
Thank you sharing that story with us, Daigo. I love this so much. The outdoors is where I can feel free to belong too.
You're welcome.
We have a glitch. The iPad's not working for a second. Helena, can you share a time when you felt a sense of belonging?
Yes, of course. This is an easy one for me to answer because I spent grades kindergarten through ninth grade feeling excluded, and someone who has experienced deep exclusion can really give insight into the feeling of belonging. From the moment I stepped onto campus of my current high school, Orange County School of the Arts, I was met with smiles from nearly everyone there. In my school's orientation meetings, it was the students who stood up and explained that the school had central values of inclusion and that at no time ever were hurtful words that were racist, sexist, or homophobic allowed on our campus. That meant something to me as a Black girl adopted by two queer fathers. They were out they were out front with the power of inclusive and affirming language right away. That gave me a feeling of safety and welcomeness. As a student with four non-apparent learning disabilities, I had to fight for an inclusive education in grades K through 9. But at my school, my IEP accommodations were either met without me ever having to ask for them or I asked for them and they were swiftly met with love and kindness. I have beautiful friendships now and am always welcomed onto campus every day with smiles and hugs. I easily felt seen and got into important leadership roles in my school because they valued my voice. My teachers are joyful and I love going to classes. My administration knows me by name, and in a school focused on belonging, you experience joy all day long.
Wow, it sounds like Orange County School of the Arts knows how to do inclusion right. Thank you, Helena, for sharing that experience with us. I believe Walt's input about when he felt a sense of belonging is on deck. Let's hear Walt's response.
Walt wrote, I want to start off by saying that I only really started to feel included in high school. I was always isolated in middle school. Kids only talked to me if they wanted to ask me a personal question about my blindness. This all started to change in high school. One prominent example of inclusion that I can think of was last year when I took AP chemistry. My teacher was great. She 3D printed me molecular models so I could feel the concepts we were learning about in class. All my history teachers have been amazing. It's part of the reason history is one of my majors at UC Berkeley. Above all, my friends make me feel included. My best friend, who I met freshman year, has made an effort to learn Braille so we can write each other notes using my slate and stylus. Slate and stylus are like pen and paper for a blind person. I use the stylus to poke Braille into the paper.
Thank you, Walt. Teachers who get it can make all the difference in the world. Normalizing accommodations is a great example of belonging. Let's move on to our next topic. What made learning accessible and meaningful? What specific strategies, supports, or practices helped Amani Would you like to start us off?
Yeah, so after acquiring my injury when I was 13, it was my freshman year of high school. Um, and I had missed the whole first semester, so I went to set up a 504 plan, just to get accommodations to allow me extended time for a bathroom break and a changing table, which really helped me reduce my anxiety. And I had like a proper desk that was integrated with the rest of the class instead of being left out on the side. Because I really prided myself on academics, much like while I was taking AP tests all the time. Um, but I think I feared asking for help. So just learning not to be afraid to enforce my needs, because I think a suitable workspace can really enhance your motivation and efficiency with your work.
Thank you, Amani. You are exactly right. We are taught to minimize ourselves, taught to not ask for too much. If we have high support needs, we will be excluded, segregated, told our needs can't be met in this environment, which is why we are here, to change the narrative. Education is our right. I love your quote. Don't be afraid to enforce your needs. Everyone on this panel is so brave. Thank you. Diego, can you tell us more? Was there something a teacher did that made a difference for you?
Sure, Olive. I had a tough time in elementary school for quite a few years, both academically and behaviorally, and I didn't like school at all. COVID-19 made school even harder. By the end of third grade, I really didn't want to go to school anymore. My mom was talking about moving me to another school, but in fourth grade, I got a new deaf and hard of hearing teacher, and she told me again and again and that I was just really, that I was really smart. She also asked me who was my favorite superhero was. I told her it was Spider-Man. She then reminded me of what Spider-Man Uncle Ben said to him. With great powers come with great responsibility. She told me that I was just as smart as Spider-Man, but so I had the responsibility to work hard, learn as much as possible, and be kind. And if I made a bad choice or had a bad day, she would always tell me tomorrow's a new day and you get to start over. She believed in me and she helped me to start believing in me and myself. There were also some other wonderful TAH staff members who helped support me, and I'll always be grateful to all of them.
Thank you, Diego. I remember the first time someone presumed my competence and told me I was smart. Having a supportive adult on your team that reinforces that is imperative. Also remembering to give yourself grace. We all make less than optimal choices, and we all get a reset in a new day. Here is something I believe we have all experienced. The barriers of low expectations. That shift gears and discuss high expectations. The dignity of risk and a time when you were challenged academically or socially, and how that gave you the opportunity for growth. Amani, would you like to go first?
Sure. So back to high school. Again, it was the beginning of my freshman year, so I was trying to keep up with schooling in the hospital. And a lot of staff members were not very receptive to what my situation was. There was a lot of miscommunication, and I was falling behind a lot because they didn't understand the classes that I was supposed to be taking. So I think I was constantly trying to prove my intelligence to people. Just because I have a disability doesn't necessarily mean that I have an academic challenge. And then socially, especially when I went to college, I think my mental health declined a lot, coupled with dorming. I think moving is a very hard process, especially at a college campus and attempting independence for the first time. So I had a lot of social anxiety, which led to isolation. and naturally cause depression and PTSD when I'm alone with my thoughts. Um, but we love therapy over here. So, um, just learning to find my voice and advocate for myself and developing a strong relationship with friends and teachers, counselors, but also accepting the fact that I still need a break and that is always okay as well.
Thank you, Amani. Learning the power of self-advocacy is a powerful skill. Helena, can you go next, please? Can you share your experience?
I applied for my school's leadership program. Leadership is the group of students who serve, organize, and run all the campus events, especially the main events in the quad during lunch. It is a highly competitive class to get into, and it involves an extensive application, interviews, observations, while participating in group work, recommendations from teachers who have watched us socially in class, and all kinds of rigorous and demanding tasks to see if you qualify. I applied and got in, and this is my first year, and this has really stretched me socially because I'm sometimes quiet and shy because of the exclusion and bullying from my other schools. But leadership has required me to step up and lead and be more social and outgoing, and I love that as much as I am sometimes afraid of that too. The two adult teachers who lead it believe in me so strongly that I am able to rise to any task they give me. I feel really safe with them, and they are at every event cheering us on. They guide us from the side, quietly letting us take the center stage. And there is something extraordinary about adults who can work with students and not center themselves. Leadership has given me some of my highest expectations, especially around organizing, collaborating, coalition building, and leading through service. My leadership class expects greatness from me, supports me to greatness, and allows me to be a really present learner while doing all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Helena. You bring up a very good point, feeling safe, and how the adults that are supporting you in your leadership program give you that foundation of safety so you can achieve greatness. Let's share Walt's response to this question.
Walt wrote, I have to talk about my teacher of the visually impaired. I've been with her for over 10 years, and she's part of the reason I learned about ableism. In 8th grade, she showed me the documentary film Crit Camp, which is just amazing. You should check it out if you haven't already. Seeing disabled people like myself advocating in those sit-ins was very powerful for me. For the first time, I felt truly proud to be disabled. I feel that we always learn about the ADA in a way that makes it seem like non-disabled people did this amazing thing for us. Instead of we fought for our rights, which then led to pressure to pass the 504 and ADA. After that, I read so many books about disability, like Haben Gurma's book. I went to Pride later that year, and I felt so proud marching with my cane where before I felt shame. Since then, I applied for the Marin County Youth Commission, was appointed by the Board of Supervisors, and created the first Disability Justice Subcommittee. I created an ableism presentation, which I have now presented to over 4,000 people in the county. I'm currently the co-chair of the Youth Commission, and I'm a strong advocate for disabled rights in my community. And Otto, I was hoping to read some of the messages from the chat here, because there's so much love and support for all of you.
How about a shout out from the chat?
Perfect. Awesome. So here are some of the things that we've pulled from the chat so far this morning. These stories are amazing. Thank you all for sharing. Everyone needs a friend like that. These stories are so valuable. We all need to remember that kindness counts and words matter. I want to be like you when I grow up. I love that one. Amani, thank you for your transparency and bravery, your courage and self-advocacy. A testament to stepping outside of your comfort zone. Way to go, Helena. All of you are so well-spoken. Crit Camp was life-changing for me as a parent on my journey with advocacy and rejecting ableism. There's so much love and so many emojis here in the chat. So thank you, Otto, for the pause.
Thank you, Walt. I am so glad you found your people and your purpose and passion. I have friends at Disability Rights California and Disability Resources, Education, and Defense Fund. I'm happy to make the introduction. That's what this is all about. Connections and support. Let's pivot now and let's talk about times when school didn't feel inclusive. Amani, can you lead the conversation this time?
Yeah, I think safety drills were a really big struggle for me in school. During a fire drill, I really couldn't flee safely because the pavement was irregular and there were potholes everywhere. Um, and then even in college, I was supposed to be provided specialized assistance and told to wait for them because in my dorm I was on the second floor. And nobody arrived and they told me to use the elevator, which fire safety 101, you are not supposed to use an elevator. Um, During earthquake drills, teachers were unaware where to place me so I can seek protection. And during an active shooter drill, there was no sense of urgency because it was just a drill. So I was sat in the middle of the room, exposed as if I were a shield for everybody else. Um, so it was just very disheartening to feel like there was no regard for my safety. So I just wish that they would include disabled people in demos and be aware of escape routes so we are not used as bait or as if we're disposable just because it takes a little bit of extra effort.
Thank you for all the love in the chat. Thank you, Amani. These are great examples. When we know better, we should do better. This shows us we should have disabled people in roles for disaster and crisis planning. Diego, let's have you share your experience. What happened? How did that make you feel? And what could have been done differently?
There was a time in elementary school when a few teachers didn't want to allow my DHH classmate to come and be a part of an event. My teacher had to work really hard to make sure that my DHH friends were able to come and that there were also an ASL interpreter for them. I just felt like my DHH friends weren't being included in a special celebration. I didn't understand why the teacher didn't want them there. The gen ed teacher could have just welcomed my DAH peers and the ASL interpreter and been kind to them.
Thank you, Diego. I'm so happy to hear your friends were ultimately included. Your advocacy for your friends was really important. Let's learn about Walt's experience when inclusion failed.
In 6th grade, I needed a Braille device called a note taker so I could read and write math in Braille. After requesting it in 6th grade, I received it 2 years later. So for 2 years, the way I learned math was from desperately trying to memorize and solve equations in my head, which was not so fun. I don't recommend. I would always receive my Braille math textbook 3 months into the school year in high school. This was especially challenging for geometry, since there were a lot of shapes. Without a tactile shape to feel in front of me, I didn't understand what my teacher was talking about. When my textbook came, it was finals week, and I had to scramble to learn all these concepts. Math is the only subject that I experienced such difficulty with, well, other than physics. And these accessibility barriers are part of the reason I strongly dislike math and did not perform well.
Ma'am Walt, that story makes me so mad. I have a friend who calls this tactic denial by delay. The powers that be just delay responses or solutions to our requests and hope we just fade away. Let's discuss a topic I love, universal design for learning. What would a school look like if belonging were part of the design from the beginning? I'm aware the question originally was written about disabled students' belonging, but belonging is something for everyone. Universal design makes everyone's life better. What do you think about this topic of belonging by design, Helena?
I read somewhere about a college that was redoing their campus and they got everything but the sidewalks in. They waited for students to walk the paths and make those foot-worn paths themselves before they actually poured cement sidewalks and pathways. I think disabled students and adults would be designing the physical spaces in a school of belonging. They would they would stop designing for us and let us do it ourselves. I think schools of belonging would have a focus on the precision of loving language, and like my school, would lead with what language is allowed on our campus. I would want to see disabled teachers and disabled staff and administration. I have teachers who talk openly about their own learning disabilities, and that is so moving to me because it is not something I have heard a lot. I think schools of belonging might work from a mastery concept of learning, and in my current school, only any student who takes a quiz or a test and gets under 70% can retake that test as many times as they want to get their grade up to a 70% or better. Any student, regardless of whether they are neurotypical or neurodiverse. Schools of belonging would see all of our identities as worthy and valuable of being lifted up. Personally, I believe that rigor does not have to be coupled with fear, but that rigor can be coupled with joy. A school of belonging has a sense of joy as its outcomes, and it is authentic, heartfelt joy at being a part of that particular learning community.
Are there burning questions from the chat?
Let's see. Sarah Lincoln, can you help us out with some questions from the chat?
I sure can. We had a lot of activity in the chat. First, I want to thank you, Otto, Amani, Diego, Helena, and Walt, for your bravery today. I cannot imagine at your age being so brave and coming to talk to a group this large. We do have some time for question and answers before the end of our time together. Otto, as our facilitator, I thought we would start with asking you a question first. What have you enjoyed most about your first year of college?
That sounds like a dream come true, a joyful place, with intentional language, authentic disability representation, where everyone is lifted up. Thank you, Helena. People often ask about going to college. I found a place where support was not enough to afford, but part of the program from the beginning. I wanted to go to school in the community where I live, where I am already comfortable. I walked around campuses, met the people in the disability support offices, and found my fit at University of San Diego.
Thank you, Otto. Amani, we have a question for you. Are you ready?
I think so. Yes.
I'll help you out. We're in this together. So, can you talk more about the transition to college? Did you encounter any challenges adjusting to college and receiving accommodations? What tips do you have for incoming college freshmen? And did you receive any outside support, such as Department of Rehabilitation? That's a long
Yes.
question.
Um, I definitely made an effort to look into what services were provided ahead of time. Um, and which one had like the most inclusive language for all. I set up a meeting with like our head of disability services, and she like gave me a tour of like the accessible locations on campus and the room options that I had that would best fit me. Um, so I building relationships with people is really like important to me, and I want like people to know that I genuinely do like accept support. And not being afraid to ask is really important. Um, so just make connections with people, I think.
That is beautiful advice. Did you receive any support from Department of Rehabilitation?
I did, yeah, yeah, yeah. They do offer you a lot as well if you are just like involved there as well. They did offer like therapy services, and maintenance was really helpful with helping with like if there was like a door that was too heavy, like they would fix it for me, and like um yeah, I had a great time.
Perfect. I have one more from the chat. I'm going to ask you to be brave one more time. What do
Okay,
you think? All right.
sure.
So this was just in general in conversation, normalizing accommodations. Someone said this. Do you have experiences with accommodations being normalized on your campuses so that they are implemented as part of a regular aspect of a class experience?
Mm, yeah, I think professors are really accommodating if you ask. Again, being like I have really bad social anxiety, so like asking people for help is hard, but like it gets a lot of things done. So a lot of students would ask for extensions or like extra time on a project, and a lot of professors will like grant that to the whole class. Um, and I mean, being in a wheelchair, like it's gonna take some time for me to get to class, you guys. Like the campus is
Yeah.
big. So they were very graceful with like allowing me to sh I tried to be on time, but like they were very nice with allowing me to show up as best as I can, and they were very also push for them to read your accommodations because I think in high school I had a very hard time getting my teachers to read my 504 plan because I was in advanced classes that they were like, "Oh, you don't need anything." I was like, "No,
Mhm.
I need a lot." Um, so get them to read your 504 plan, your IEP, everything, and enforce it when you need it.
Thank you so much. All right, Helena, are you ready?
Yes, yes.
What advice do you have for other young people who would like to get into advocacy or advisory? Where, how did you start, and where do you see yourself going in this space?
I've been taught my entire life that leadership is service to others, and that is my main message to other young people wanting to be activists. I've noticed a trend in young activists who desire the main stage of large organizations right away or wanting to be centered in a movement. And in my experience, that isn't how it works. This week alone, I'm reading poetry about a love of books and literacy at a small open mic at a local independent bookstore. And I'm reading disability poetry at a local community of faith that is having a Saturday service lifting up disabled voices. I'm reading activist poetry about the power of youth voice at an open mic at a local library. I'm giving up an entire Wednesday night to attend a monthly meeting for one of my commissions, and I'm doing edits for a journal article that has taken me years to bring to publication. These seemingly smaller acts of service to the community are where leaders are born, not on the big stage. My advice to kids wanting to make a big impact is to love, respect, and be attentive to the small impacts you can make in the community where you live.
Helena, you are a busy, busy person. Look at you go. All right, Diego, are you ready? I've got one for you.
Yes, I am. Bring it.
All right. I'm bringing it. I'm bringing it. I know that you use spoken English as your primary language, but I also know that you have worked hard to learn some ASL too. Can you tell us why you started to learn ASL?
I started to learn ASL because there were two new students that came to our class, like 2 or 3 years ago, and during that time, I didn't quite understand ASL during that time, so I decided to learn it so I can know what they're saying or have a conversation with them or ask questions. And so after a while, I started to learn, and we went to CSD, the School for the Deaf, and then I saw some of my old friends, and I was able to communicate with other deaf people freely, and it was a very good experience for that.
Did you want to say anything else, Diego?
Um,
We had chatted about something else you wanted to say in the beginning.
yeah. Thank you, Otto, for being such a great moderator today. You crushed it. Thank you to the other student panelists, Helena, Walt, and Amani. Thank you to Sib for the honor of inviting me to be a part of the student panel today. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Diego. Are you following along with our ASL interpreters today? Are you that good yet? You have to unmute. Tell me your answer.
I used to be good, but I forgot some ASL, so yeah.
Well, you have to show up at all SIP events so you can watch the interpreters.
Okay.
It'll be good practice because they're good.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we're going to head back to Otto for his quick thank you.
Thank you everyone for your attention today. This was so much fun. Thank you fellow panelists. You all have a great career of advocacy ahead of you. Please feel free to contact me or my friends at SIP for any follow-up questions.
Megan, I just saw 2 Q&As. Do we have time? I haven't been
We
watching the
sure
timer.
do. I would also love to know too, Diego, if you could tell us your favorite ASL sign.
Oh yeah. My favorite
Or show us.
ASL sign is dragon. and it's the reason is because I grew up watching this show. It was about ninjas and dragons and powers, and so I got into love these cartoon characters so much, and they were a big part of my childhood, and they gave me a lot of good vocabulary words.
I love
Awesome.
that. I'm going to ask the whole panel if you're comfortable, but if not, Amani, I'm going to pick on you again. We've got 2 Q&A questions. So one of them is, what advice would you give to a student who is earning their certificate of completion for high school this year to inspire them to know that they have options out there?
options in life,
Uh,
opportunities.
yes, opportunities for employment, for school.
Um, Congrats on graduating high school. That's so fun. Um, yeah, I think I took a very long time to be comfortable talking about my disability. I'm coming up on 10 years soon in August. Just experiencing this new life and I'm here. So, um, there's just a lot, again, building connections with anyone, with your teachers, with anyone that you can confide in. They will point you to the right direction.
Amani, I think that's going to be your tagline, building connections. You are the
Sure.
relationship master. I love it. For this one, I think you're going to have a good one. Was there ever a time when you preferred to be in a setting with only disabled students? If so, what was the benefit? And remember, anybody can answer, but whoever's most comfortable, Amani.
Oh, wait, let me answer one more time. Sorry. Um, when I again missed my whole first semester of freshman year, so I they didn't understand what classes I was supposed to be in, um, or why I was taking APs like my freshman year. So they had placed me with the special day classes, which loved them dearly. Loved all the students in there, and I spent a lot of time in that class because they had the aides were there to help me with using the restroom and like just navigating the campus. Um, so I spent a lot of time there and gained a love for just like teaching and like just being around other disabled students. I think they gave me a lot of insight, especially when other students pretty much avoided them, or like
Yeah.
didn't acknowledge them a lot on campus. I was really glad to be there and just be a friend to them.
Amani, that was beautiful. We're going to close out Q&A with Otto's response to the first question for his advice, and then we'll kick it over to you, Juliet.
Find what fuels your passion. Keep on trying. Also, finding your tribe, your people makes you feel great.
That was perfect. Thank you. Juliet, do you want to close us out?
I will. I will. Thank you so much. This was such a treat, a great way to kick off our conference. And so, as we close out, I just want to thank each of our young leaders today for sharing your authentic experiences with us. Next, at about 10:20, we'll have a short break where you can enjoy a poetry reading recorded by one of our student panelist, Helena Donato Sapp, before you head out to your first breakout session. We really hope to see you all back here in the auditorium at about 11:30 for our lunchtime special feature of the first SIP Live podcast. And so our SIP program specialist, Sarah Bleeg, will be interviewing Alex Partridge, an award-winning podcaster and author of the Sunday Times bestselling book, Now It All Makes Sense: How an ADHD Diagnosis Brought Clarity to My Life. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.